If you're struggling with your eyeshadow application and you find that it's really patchy and difficult to blend, and you really wish that it looked something more like this, then I'm here to share with you my tips and tricks for a more flawless eyeshadow application. Hi guys, it's Sue and welcome back. Now the reality is that as we age, things do start to sag, including our eyelids, and skin that was once taut in our 20s, 30s, and probably even early 40s is no longer quite what it was, which makes the seamless application and blending of eyeshadow a little bit more challenging. So I wanted to share with you today some tips and tricks that I use to help create a smoother eyeshadow application. So the first thing I wanted to touch on is the quality of the eyeshadows that you use. Now you definitely don't need to spend a lot of money on expensive eyeshadows, and in fact in this tutorial I am using one of my really favorite Wet n Wild palettes, and this is in the shade Bed of Roses. I really do love these and I find that the quality is really quite acceptable, so nothing wrong with it at all. The second thing you need to look out for are the quality of the brushes that you're using. So you need to choose brushes that are very, very soft and that have the ability to pick up pigment and also to blend it over the lid. And in today's tutorial, of course, I am using eyeshadow brushes from my own makeup brush range. So the first thing to consider is, are your eyelids oily or not? Now I do have oily eyelids. I don't like to apply a concealer because I find that concealers do contain oil, and I find that this often kind of creates a little bit of friction when you are applying a powder eyeshadow. So what I do is I apply a very, very light layer of pressed powder or finishing powder, and in this case I'm using the Rimmel Stay Matte, and I find that a very thin layer of powder on the eyelid just helps to absorb any excess oils. You don't want to overdo the powder because then it is going to create dryness on the lid, which is going to accentuate your texture. Taking a fluffy tapered blending brush, I then apply a little bit of transition shade. Now, the transition shade is generally 1 or 2 shades darker than my natural lid shade. And this is going to create a base, which again is going to help you to blend out any deeper shadow that you apply over it. So once I have applied my transition shade, I'm now going to go in with a darker shade. And I'm going to start on the outer corner of the eye, and I'm going to pat the shadow onto the outer corner and a little bit onto the upper lid. And I use patting motions because if I use swiping motions, then the shadow is going to skip because my eyelids are a little less taut than they once were. And so I find that patting motions works the best. Once I am happy with the amount and the depth of the crease shade, I then take a large fluffy blending brush and I blend out that shade into almost nothing. So I want to blend out any harsh lines and edges, and it really just helps to really blend the eyeshadow out seamlessly. And then I go in with a pencil brush just to add a little bit more definition to the outer corner. And I take whatever is left on the pencil brush and I gently swipe it onto my lower lid. And this would typically be for days on which I'm not going to be applying an eyeliner as such, but just a little bit of shadow to the lower lid to create a little bit more definition. To finish off the look, I'm then going to apply a little bit of a shimmer shade to the mobile lid. And you can skip this step or you can apply any shade that you want to. I just apply a little bit of a contrasting color to the upper lid. And then of course I apply 2 coats of mascara. So guys, the general idea is just to apply these shadows in very, very thin layers and to build them up really gradually, as opposed to putting on one intense layer, which is going to be a lot more difficult to blend out. And then, of course, just an added tip is to put a little bit of powder on your lids. If you do have dry lids, then you can forego that step totally. So guys, I hope that has helped. Those are techniques that I use to help create a seamless blend of eyeshadow, specifically on aging eyes that have a little bit of texture. So let me know what your tips and tricks are. Leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Ciao, ciao.